Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is definitely an interesting one. Definitely quite interesting. And it's one of those ones that I look back on and I'm like, ew, that was nasty. I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do. And let's get into it. So today's story time all takes place back when I was in middle school. I believe I was 14 years old at this time.
14? Can I tell the story?
How the fuck do you keep getting out of the basement?
You said this takes place when you're 14. Come on, let me tell it.
Get the fuck back in the basement now. So anyway, yeah, this story time takes place when I was 14 years old, okay? Now, when I was in middle school, for the most part, I had a pretty good experience. You know, I just kind of kept my head down, sometimes literally, as in sleeping in class, but most of the time, I just kind of, laid low, did my work as expected, and kind of just tried my best. Because in middle school, it's just a little bit more relaxed than like high school and college. So I definitely miss it sometimes. That was definitely a lot easier than high school was. But yeah, this all starts off like any other day back in middle school. I woke up, got up out of bed, took a shower, got ready for my day. One thing I really miss about middle school is how much later the classes started compared to my high school. My high school would start at like 7:05 in the morning, and my middle school would start at like 8:30. So I got to sleep in a little bit more. So anyway, yeah, I got ready for the day, jumped on the school bus, went to school, went to my first period, and yeah, the day started off nice and normal. Now, fast forward to fourth period. This was the period I had before lunch, and this was my English class, and I actually really liked English class because the teacher was relatively chill. She kind of just like never assigned homework and would just kind of let you read and relax, and yeah, she was cool. So I'm just sitting in English class, about 20 minutes into class, reading a book, just chilling. And I started having the urge to pee. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up and go ask the teacher to use the bathroom. So I jumped up out of my chair, walked up to the front desk where my teacher was, said hello. I asked her if I can go to the bathroom. She was like, yeah, of course, here. She gives me the little bathroom like pass thing. And she was one of those teachers that was really cool about that. She never like made you hurry when you were using the bathroom like some teachers do. So anyway, I got the bathroom pass, went out into the hallway, started walking to the bathroom. And the way that my school was set up, from my English class, you would leave the English room, take a right, go down a really long hallway, and then take a left. And the bathroom would be right there on your left-hand side. So when I was going down that long-ass hallway to then take a left turn, I noticed something. I see this dude who I've seen before in the hallway. I didn't know him, but I knew of his face. He was at the very end of the hallway, and he was banging on one of the lockers. Like, he kept punching it. And I couldn't tell if he was like angry at the locker or like if that was his locker and he was trying to like break into it because he didn't know the combination, or maybe he was robbing somebody. Either way, I didn't know why he kept hitting it. So as I approached him and I got close, I asked him, I was like, what are you doing, man? He's like, oh, I'm trying to get into this locker. And I was like, is it your locker? He's like, nah, it's my homie's. I was like, oh, okay. And I just didn't question it. I walked away, took the left turn, and then went to the bathroom. Now, I went to the bathroom pretty quick. It only took me about a minute and a half to do my business. But when I left the bathroom, I was greeted to a sight that I don't think anybody ever wants to see, ever. So I left the bathroom, I turned right to go down that long hallway, and I glanced over at that locker to see if that dude was still there, and he was. But he was doing something very, very strange, something that nobody should have to see in school or in general. He had his pants down to his ankles, and he was hunched over with his ass in the locker, and we both made eye contact, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, nothing. And I was like, are you shitting in a locker? He goes, yeah. And I was like, why? And he goes, I'm playing a prank on my friend. I'm like, dude, I am so glad that we're not friends, because if I was friends with somebody and they shit in my locker, I think I'd become like the villain. I think it would change my entire life trajectory and I would go down a really bad path. And he's like, yeah, this kid had it coming. I had to do it. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to class now. Good luck with your taking a shit in a locker. See ya. And he goes, don't tell my friend. And I was like, I don't even know who your friend is. So, yeah, you're fine. And I walked away and I went back to English class. But the story doesn't end there, okay? So fast forward to the end of English class. The bell rings, class lets out, and I walk out in the hallway. And I take a right to go to my locker, because my locker wasn't very far from where that kid was doing his business in the locker. And as I passed that locker, the entire hallway in that area smelled so fucking bad. And I remember as I was walking by, I heard someone go, "Yo, this hallway smells like shit. Who the fuck shit their pants in here?" And I started laughing my ass off, and I was like, "Yo, someone took a shit in a locker. I saw it when I was going to the bathroom." And he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? My locker's in this hallway. I can't have this here." This dude was just crashing out, dude. I felt so bad for him. Well, it gets even better, okay? So a minute later, after I get done going to my locker and getting my folder out and stuff, I have to walk back that same way I came, and I have to walk back past that locker again. And this time, as I was walking back, I saw the kid that had that locker opening it. So I stopped in my tracks and I watched because I wanted to see his reaction to seeing a human turd in his locker. So I leaned up against one of the nearby lockers and I plugged my nose so I didn't have to smell it. I'm just watching and I see him put in his combination and he pops open the locker and immediately he starts gagging, about to throw up. And he's like, yo, who did this? He's yelling out to everyone in the hallway. And I walked up to him and I was like, yo, I know you don't know me, but I saw who did this. I was walking by to use the bathroom and I saw this kid punching at your locker, trying to get it open. And when I left the bathroom and I passed by again, he was leaned over in your locker shitting. And he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? What do you look like?" And I was like, he had long brown hair. He was wearing cargo shorts. They were camouflage. He had a band t-shirt on, kind of had a little bit of a mustache thing going on. And immediately his face just changes. And he's like, "It was Sage." And I was like, "Is that his name? Sage? Is that who did this?" He's like, "Yep." And I'm like, "Are y'all friends?" He's like, "Not anymore, we're not." And I was like, I have to ask, did you do something to deserve this? Did you prank him first? He's like, "Bro, I didn't do anything. Nothing to deserve this." And I was like, "I'm so sorry then. My condolences to your locker." And he's like, "Thanks, I'm gonna need it." And he slowly grabbed his backpack out of the locker, which had the turd in it, and walked over to a garbage can and threw it out. And he was talking to himself. He was all angry. He's like, "I hate this fucking school, man. They need to put better locks on these lockers. There's no reason you should be able to punch a locker and it just opens up." And he was right, honestly. Our school had really shitty lockers. You could just hit them and they'd pop right open. So yeah, things like this happen if that's the case. But anyway, after this, I walked upstairs to the cafeteria because it was lunchtime and I was not hungry at all given the circumstances of what just happened. But it was lunchtime, so I had to eat something. So I went up to the cafeteria quick, I ate lunch really quick, and then I hung out with my friends for a little bit in the cafeteria at our table. And I had all my folders and stuff for the next class, so I could just go straight to class after that. And after the cafeteria let out and it was time to go to my next class, something else happened. So I was going to my next period class, right? I believe it was study hall. And while I was going down the hallway to study hall, a fight broke out. And I think you guys can guess who it broke out between. I see the kid that was shitting in the locker, and then the other kid who was the victim of the locker shit, fighting. Just straight throwing hands in the hallway right outside of the cafeteria while I was on the way to study hall. Now, if I had to guess why they were fighting, it's probably because one of them took a poop in his locker. So they fought for about a minute before it got broken up, and luckily it wasn't too gruesome or bad. They didn't really land many punches, so it was just mainly a lot of tackling each other and ground wrestling essentially. So they got broken up pretty quickly without, any major injuries. And they got escorted to the main office after that. And the rest of my day was not that eventful. That was definitely the most eventful thing I'd seen that day. Honestly, that was probably the most eventful thing I saw that year, honestly. It's probably top 3 craziest things I saw that year. Maybe number 1. But I learned a valuable lesson from all of this. And that is, if you have to use the bathroom, don't go in your friend's backpack in his locker. That'll probably upset your friend, and then you'll probably lose that friend, or that friend might try and beat you up. So don't do that. We have these things called toilets. They actually work for this very thing, so stick to those. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. Definitely a crazy one, definitely a funny one. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like on the video, and feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I will see you all later. Peace. I'm staying